Hello, and welcome to another BevRants podcast, if you want to call it that. It kind of isn't. It's just me being lazy, uploading to YouTube, and not being bothered to turn my camera on, just the microphone. Which is actually quite handy, because I do not look good at the minute. So, the whole idea of this is we are going to take a look through the news and just basically see kind of what's going on and just have a little natter, because, well, I'll explain it properly in a minute, but yeah, we are basically in the midst of a coronavirus outbreak, and it is now classed as a pandemic. And so, yeah, it's nice to have stuff to do, different stuff to listen to, and all that sort of thing. So, fuck it, why not? Okay, let me just have a little look at something, because I know somewhere I've got like a video that I did ages ago, and I can't remember if I uploaded it or not, but I swear it was something like, this is not a podcast or something. I can't remember what I called it. And of course on this channel I've uploaded quite a few of the Bev's blog videos, and that is why I'm having difficulty finding it. It's called Is This a Podcast, episode 1. So that's what was already up. Let's just call this episode 2. Why not? Let's make it sound like I'm actually committed to something in my life, 'cause mainly I'm not. Okay, so obviously first thing in the news is about this coronavirus outbreak, or COVID-19, that's it. And I find myself, as a little side note here, I actually have to sing that because I read a thing online a few days ago, and it said COVID-19 can replace the line "Come on Eileen" from the song, which is called "Come on Eileen." And yeah, you'll never hear the song the same way again. So, yeah. But this whole thing at the minute, this coronavirus thing, it is out of hand. It's out of control. No one kind of knows where we're up to at the minute. And obviously I'm based in the United Kingdom, and our government has kind of stopped testing people who have the symptoms. No real idea as to why. There's no like full-on reasoning behind it. And of course, especially more so in this day and age, we need facts and figures to base our reaction on. Because what if we only had 5 cases in the country? I mean, we have got more, but what if we had 5 cases in the country? How are we going to know if there's more or less? You know, if we're not doing the testing, we can't have a grasp of how out of control this thing is. Ergo, we can't react properly. We are, however, I believe, according to the last lot of figures, we are under the 3% target. Now, the 3% thing comes in when you... Oh, God, I can't remember how to do this properly, but it's complicated anyway. So it's something to do with the amount of people who've contracted COVID-19, and then you divide that by the amount... I think you divide it by the amount of deaths that there has been, and if it is equal to or more than 3%, then we need to seriously step up our game. But we've no way of measuring that at the minute because we don't have up-to-date numbers. So you can kind of see the problem with that. So at the time of recording this, it has just been announced that all schools in Wales are going to close by Friday of this week. Now we're on Wednesday. Let me just check actually. Are we on Wednesday? I think we're on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Hurry up, calendar. Yes, it is. It's Wednesday the 18th of March. And yeah, it's only now that the schools are closing. Like last week, Ireland announced our schools will be closing. Wales obviously doing it this week, and kind of still awaiting on official word as to when all schools in the United Kingdom will be ordered to close. I do think that they should be closed. I think we are long overdue for that. The reason I say that is because there are more cases now where children have been infected or contracted COVID-19, and they have been around their classmates and obviously school friends, and the schools remain open. And that's not acceptable. That is passing it on. So yeah, schools should be closed. I don't understand though, when this thing comes in, like the schools closing, pardon me, we now have many businesses closing, and they're all saying, oh, it's until the end of April. And it's like, well, why? Where's this April thing come from? Like, if this is a pandemic, right, when this first started breaking, I remember reading a thing online, and it said that basically if this went to a pandemic level and it wasn't managed properly, then it could wipe out somewhere between 40 and 70% of mankind. And yeah, I will give that second silence there, because this is serious stuff. You know, 70% of mankind could be wiped out. Isn't that crazy? I think, honest to God, I don't know. It's scary when you think about that. And I say it was scary because, again, read online, there was a family, and the grandfather of the family had contracted COVID-19, and you know, he wasn't winning the battle. His body was sort of giving up. The family were given 15 minutes with him before he passed away. Obviously, because when he's in the treatment rooms at the hospital, all the staff have to be, you know, all in the protective gear and the masks and everything like that. And the family, obviously, can't really have all the visitors getting in and out of these suits, because, you know, you'll go through fucking loads of suits, you'll run out, and it won't be good. So they were given 15 minutes with him before he died, and I keep thinking now about, like, my family that I've got. I mean, okay, we're kind of not in the best shape, but coronavirus doesn't care about that. It doesn't matter about your fitness levels. It doesn't matter about anything. If it gets hold of you, it can kill you. And I don't want it to be a thing of, you know, I get a phone call and it says, well, your mum's in hospital, you need to come in now, it's not long left. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's scary when you think of it like that. Breaking news has just come in. As I am actually recording this, it says schools to be shut in Wales and Scotland by Friday. And this is in response to the coronavirus. So we're just waiting to hear now about England and Northern Ireland. So hopefully that news will come through quite soon. In other news, because of this coronavirus, EastEnders, the popular BBC soap, they have stopped filming because of coronavirus. I had read somewhere that Coronation Street and Emmerdale were looking into doing kind of a similar thing, and that what they would be doing, I'm not too sure about Emmerdale. I think that's only 5 episodes a week, but I know that Coronation Street, about a year or two ago, went up to 6 episodes a week. And one of the things that they were looking at doing was to reducing that to 2 episodes per week, and sort of like spreading out the stock that they've got, spread that out a little bit longer, and we can, keep on with the entertainment. And hopefully by the time that people can get back to work and sort of get back to normality and that sort of thing, the soap won't have had to go off air. Because of course the risk is at the moment that it's going to have to go off air, and obviously you're going to have to find something to replace that, and then something else will go off air that they can't film anymore, and yeah, you come into quite big issues there. Which, by the way, if there are any TV executives on, I don't mind you running episodes of Life with Bev if you pay me. And make sure that if people press the red button, they are subscribed to my YouTube. Gotta try and have a little bit of self-promotion every now and then, haven't you? Away from things like the television and that, Sainsbury's and Asda are limiting the sale of all food items. Now, a friend of mine was actually talking with me about this last night, and he sent me a video of this family somewhere, and quite literally every room of this house is now stocked up with fucking hell, tons upon tons of like cooking oil, face wash, hand soap, all this sort of stuff, where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe get a few extra cleaning products in, and certainly have enough food in for a month, 2 weeks. But this is kind of extreme, the amount that they've got in. And it has become a real problem here in the United Kingdom, mainly because kind of our supermarkets over here, they run on how kind of not reliable, but how predictable our shopping habits actually are. So they know, okay, on a Monday morning, more than likely we sell, 17 loaves of bread. So on a Monday, we'll send that store 17 loaves of bread. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of how their supply chain works. So when it's come to this pandemic and people have started panic buying, to a certain extent I do agree with the panic buying. Not everyone is fortunate enough to be able to stock up for, the entire period of isolation. But some people are doing it to the extreme, and kind of the wrong items as well, which is just really weird. Like toilet roll. Like, how much toilet roll do you need? Like, if this gets all used up, like, our drain system could face a few problems. Frozen chips. That was another thing that I noticed had sold out. And yet, bleach, cleaning fluids, bacteria wipes, all this sort of stuff, plenty of. The stuff that can actually help by killing bacteria. Oh, no. That's still there. And people are stocking up on the wrong things, and it is mental. So, people might be listening and wondering, where are we up to in the United Kingdom with regards to isolation? So, I am on my 6th day of isolation. I had to self-isolate last week because I started with a cold. And I think it's still kind of lingering in me. Like, I still have a blocked nose every now and then. I do have a cough and that sort of thing, but I am functioning. I'm able to do, daily activities. But I know I've not got coronavirus, because coronavirus, it screws you over, basically. I think that is the nicest way that I can put it. It stops you from being able to do anything. It grounds you. Think of like the worst flu that you've ever had. It's worse than that. So many of you listening to this will already know what I'm on about with that. It's horrible. So you know when you've got it. And of course, the main advice at the moment is, if you have any of the symptoms, self-isolate. Don't have contact with people. Certain government websites over here, though, are saying, oh yeah, it's fine for friends and family to visit you. Don't do that to your friends and family. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you must, do online shopping and put a note on and say, I am a COVID-19 blah blah blah. Please leave all items in a safe area. Tell the driver to leave, and I will collect them, when I come out. Or like when you tell me you're there, I don't know. But there is a way, you know what I mean? There are ways around it. So, yeah. The food shopping situation has been a little bit on the crazy side. And the supermarkets are now having to limit what people can buy in store. Now, to a certain extent, I can see why. It's not nice going into store and thinking, oh, I really need to buy toilet roll, and there's none there. At the same time, though, these stores, all of them, need more deliveries. That's what they need to do. It's quite clear at the minute that toilet roll is the thing that we are short of. So why not send a store a lorry each day filled with toilet roll? Let people buy as much as they want. Let them, hoard it, and you're still making money from it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's crazy that the supply chain can't cope with something like this, because obviously people can only buy so much toilet roll, and there is more than enough toilet roll to go around. So yeah, that's my thought on that. And I just need to cough for a minute. Sorry. I knew I had to do that. I could feel it sort of like tickling away in my lungs, and it needed to come out. So, kind of the coronavirus thing, it's still ongoing. Probably, some of the information that I've given you just then will, by the time that this is edited and uploaded and everything like that, it will have completely changed. That's just how it is. So I know one of the things that's still kind of in the news at the minute is that Glastonbury Music Festival has been cancelled, and that is due to the coronavirus outbreak. Dead quickly as well, showing you kind of how serious this thing is. All Disney parks throughout the world are currently closed. Now, this is Disney, a multi-billion-dollar making company, closing their biggest source of income. So, do you know what I mean? This is kind of scary, and probably bigger than we thought. So, yeah, That's just that. Away from coronavirus, actually, after fucking 20 minutes, we can move on from it. I uploaded on my main channel, under the series Life with Bev, I uploaded the videos in January and a little bit into February of my trip to San Francisco. I had an amazing time, and I kind of want to tell you a little bit more about my experience there, because there are bits of it that I wasn't able to get on camera. Oh, hang on, bear with me. Sorry, I had to mute my microphone while I blew my nose. Oh, God, what a joy having a cold. Actually, before I get into that, let me have me orange juice. There we go. All refreshed. So, yeah, there are certain bits I wasn't able to capture on video. And I think I should tell you about some of these experiences. And so, okay. I won the trip through Jack Radio, which is operating in the United Kingdom. It is a female-based radio station, as in female music artists, female presenters, and this was their first really big competition, and it was won by a man. Joy for them. However, it was kind of a bit of a confusing stage for me when I first found out that I'd won, because the prize is, or was, for me to pick any artist in the world, to go and see them anywhere in the world where I wanted, and they would pay for me to go, for me to have 5 nights accommodation at least a 4-star standard hotel, and it would include breakfast. So I was like, oh my God. So when she asked me on the phone, like when she's just told me the news, she was like, do you have an inkling of who you want to go and see? And I was like, sure, because I know that she's on tour, and I wanted to get tickets and I couldn't for while she was over here in the United Kingdom, because the prices were just astronomical. And then I had a little look around online, saw where she was, and there became this sort of like debate between me and quite a few family members and friends and that, because I was saying, oh, you know, I think I might go and watch her in San Francisco, and that would be a really good idea. Oh, I love that idea. And then other family members were going, yeah, but she's on in Vegas. I'm like, Vegas is all, you know, it's the flashing lights, it's the glitz, the glamour, and all this sort of stuff. It's to get you gambling. That's all it is. It's to get you spending money. That's the whole point of Vegas, right? San Francisco is not like that. The Golden Gate Bridge, you don't have to pay to look at it. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to pay to go and walk around the national forests and parks and everything that they've got. So, yeah, I want to go and do San Francisco. And it with some family members, it did become quite heated. But eventually I told the woman, you know, share San Fran, get it booked. Then I told my mum, I'm like, Mum, just to let you know, you're coming with me. And she was kind of like, a bit like me, sort of like, what? This doesn't happen to me. And it was lovely to be able to take her. It really was. Because I do love my mum. We have this sort of like, I don't know how you describe it. It's more like a friendship that we have these days, as opposed to like a parent-child relationship sort of thing. And yeah, so we got everything planned, and bought in new clothes, and just you start planning what you're going to take. And we found out the dates that we were going to be there for, and we found out when we were going to see Cher and everything like that. So we planned a couple of days where we'll go and do stuff, like touristy stuff. Now, when my mum first said this to me, I was a bit like, oh no, thinking, oh shit, every day is going to be organised, it's going to be horrendous. So we planned, we found a tour company that did a kind of like 3-in-1 day. So you would be taken out of San Francisco City, you'd be transported to an area called Muir Woods, which is right over by the sea. It is home to redwoods, some of which are the biggest coastal redwoods that you can find in the world, and blah blah blah. Then you get taken to Sausalito, which is just this oh god, beautiful place. And then you will be taken on boat over to Alcatraz, and you will be given a full tour on Alcatraz Island. So my mum said about this, and at first I was a bit like, and then she said, you get to go on Alcatraz Island, and you'll get to go around the prison. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go. So we booked that one, got all that paid for and everything like that. Then my mum had said about, do you want to go to Yosemite National Park? And I'm like, okay, what is there to do? And my mum was like, oh, well, there's all these different walks you can go on, and you might see some animals. So of course at first I'm like, no, it's not happening. And then my mum said, oh, it says on the website here, you need to be prepared, this will be a long day. And some of the reviews say that people have been out for 15 hours. And I was like, oh, Mum, really? My mum was like, I know, but this is like your only chance in life to go and see this national park. It's a national place of beauty. Come on, we're going. So I was like, oh, right, okay. So we booked that one. Of course, I wasn't like kind of majorly excited about that one. But then I saw a video online, and it showed me what Yosemite looked like. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Kind of a bit more up for going about this. And so we booked. Now, in day one of the video, well, the series of videos I did, hang on, let me cough. You notice how I mute myself? Aren't I good? Anyway, so we fly over to San Francisco International Airport, and we have, I don't know how to describe this. When I say a wavy landing, not many people are going to know what I'm on about. But like a boat, when it's on rough water and it feels like it's going up and down, well, that's what our plane was doing on its approach to landing. Yeah. And this, oh god, what is it? I think it was a 747-700 Max or something like that. Like, this is a 2-story plane. The biggest one I've ever been on or seen in my life. And it's bouncing on its way down. And I'm like, oh shit, this is not going to end well. But at least I made it to San Francisco before I died. Kind of at the same time. And yeah, we are, oh my god, literally about 2 seconds away from the wheels actually touching the tarmac, when we all heard the engines fire up, and just sort of, the plane just sort of went whoosh back up into the air. So I'm like, OMG. Like, that was a bit of a rough landing. And then we've had to abort landing. So straight away, of course, the steward comes on the mic, or customer service, whatever they're called these days. And he says, well, ladies and gentlemen, you've probably noticed we've gone back up in the air. And we're like, no shit. And then he says, we've had to abort that landing. Again, no shit. And yeah, he kind of talks us through it and says, the captain, when possible, will let you know kind of why. So we're like, okay. So we circle around, and then the pilot comes on and he says, well, you know, blah, 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 blah. We had to abort the landing because of traffic on the runway. So you're like, okay, San Fran, you're not giving me the best intro here. Like, do you know what I mean? This is not going well. So we do land. We are an hour early because apparently somewhere, was it over Greenland or something like that, we got this wind behind us and it basically catapulted us to San Fran at a faster rate than, you know, what we should have done. Which is fine, believe me, I don't mind being early. What I do mind is the United States Border Force. Because at the same time as our flight offloading, they are offloading, oh my god, it seemed like 1,000,001 other flights. My feet were hurting because my feet had swollen and I wasn't wearing shoes that kind of expanded with my feet. And they want us to stand in a queue. Now, normally I don't mind standing in a queue. In fact, I'm British. It's my second nature to queue. However, I'm in a line of about 500 people, and there are 3 agents. 3 for 500 people. So, of course, I am at this point chinning off to my mum. God knows how she coped with me, because I'm tired. I haven't slept in like 30 odd hours by this time. I'm slightly hungover from the free alcohol on the plane. But I am grumpy. And I'm stood there and I'm going, do you know what? I don't even want to come in the country anymore. Just send me home. I'm having a really bad time. It took 2 hours for us to get to the front, to get seen. And of course, when you're getting seen, you're constantly nervous. You're like, oh my god, have I packed a bomb? I don't know. I don't think I did. Am I part of ISIS? I don't know. I've stood that long in the queue. I don't know if I'm a member of ISIS now. Yeah, so eventually we got let in. But because we had been queuing that long, they had airport staff that were removing people's suitcases from the carousel where you pick them up and putting them next to them so you can turn the carousels off. Yeah. And yeah, me and my mum, we got our suitcases, made our way out of the airport, and we were in San Fran. And it was lovely. It was sunny, which is, of course, always a bonus wherever I go. Bear with me, I'm going to have another little sip of me. Got to keep hydrated in these in these times, people. Can't talk. Christ knows why I decided to do this while I've got a cold. Anyway, so we come out of the airport. Most airports in the United Kingdom now once you go through the check-in, they don't have a fucking smoking area. So not only have I been up for the better part of 30 hours, I haven't had a smoke in about 11 or 12 hours. So our instruction was, when you go through the border stuff, we've got a limousine to pick you up from the airport to take you to your hotel. So whenever you go through, they are expecting you, but they're not going to have someone there waiting for you. Whenever you go through, find a payphone. There are a few free payphones. Ring this number. They will send a driver to you. So I'm like, okay. So of course, me and my mum get through. We get our suitcases, and I just went, Mum, I'm sorry, but screw this. I'm going out for a cigarette. I'm not phoning anyone. I'm not doing anything until I've had a cigarette. My mum's like, well, dude, yeah, okay, I do quite understand. So I go outside, have a cigarette, sort of calm down a little bit, and we start doing the touristy thing, which is to phone everyone back home, going, oh, we've arrived, and everyone goes, well done. What's it like? And you're like, well, it's sunny. And then they go, is it warm? You go, yeah. And that is kind of basically the top and tail of the conversation that you have. So eventually I went back in, found the free phone, phoned this company, and they said, right, go to the taxi, pick up, blah blah blah, we'll get a driver to pick you up. Now, I assume it's like an American thing. When I hear limousine, I always think of, like, you know, the super stretched one. Pardon me, a limousine in America just seems to be like a big 4x4, and yeah, there's nothing kind of limousine about it really, apart from you're sat in the back, and obviously the driver isn't. But we go over to our hotel to sort of check it out, you know, see what's around, and me mum on the way there says, well, you know, we have been up for, you know, hell of a long time, didn't really sleep on the flight. My mum had tried to sleep overnight in Heathrow Airport. It didn't work out very well. I think she probably had about 20 minutes, and even that was broken up. So my mum says, well, I'm going to go into the hotel room, and yeah, you know, but before I unpack, I am getting on the bed, and I'm having a rest. And if I fall asleep, I fall asleep. But what we will do is later on, we'll go out, probably go down to Chinatown or something like that, and, you know, we'll go and get some food and bottles of water for the hotel room and that sort of thing. So we're like, okay. So we get to the hotel, and we check in, and we sign up to this thing, so we get the free Wi-Fi. Our room is on the 15th floor, and we are staying in the the Intercontinental Mark Hopkins Hotel. And not only is it a big hotel, it's on top of a hill, and our room was at the front of the hotel, so our room overlooked Alcatraz, Little Italy, Chinatown, Pier 39, you know, all these places that we've gone, we're going to try and visit this while we're here, and blah blah blah. Our room overlooks it, but of course it's night time. Well, it's sort of getting dark. We're both tired, so I said to my mum, right, I'm going to dump the cases, blah blah blah, and then I'm coming downstairs and having a cigarette. My mum's saying, do you know what, fine, just do it. So I go and have a cigarette, go upstairs. My mum is sort of like asleep on the bed, so I sort of wake my mum up. I'm like, Mum, you know, do you want to go to the shops? My mum goes, no, not at the minute, let me just have a sleep for a few hours. 7 o'clock, we'll go out at 7 if I'm awake. Neither of us set an alarm. But yeah, we got on the bed and gone flat out, and that was until 3 in the morning. Then we both wake up, and you're like, right, come on, let's get on with the day. And I'm like, Mum, 3:30 in the morning. But it was, it was good. And so while we were getting ready, and getting ready to be the first going in for breakfast, we put on the news. Now, coming over from the airport to the hotel, our driver had been quite knowledgeable and said, I'm just letting you know now in case you haven't researched it, but San Fran, we have a problem with homeless. And it's not that they are aggressive, it's not that they're going to attack you, it's how many there are. And I need you to sort of be prepared for it, because it can be quite shocking to see how many homeless we actually have. This is why, and he was explaining sort of like a little bit about the politics of it, which of course really interested me, and I probably will go into one day. But he gave us really good information. He sort of took us around seeing the sites, and yeah, I was shocked at how many homeless there was. And he said, well, it's, for us at the minute, we go through a crime heat wave, which is what we're doing at the minute. And many people attribute that to the homeless. So we're getting ready. I put the news on, which is, I think it was called NBC Bay Area, if I remember rightly. And so I put that news on, and the breaking news is that there's been a stabbing on the BART, and that a man has died, but he wasn't the intended victim of it. So I'm like, okay, all right, what the shit is going on here? So the BART, so for in the United Kingdom, we have a version of the BART. It's called the London Underground. Yeah, that's what the BART is. It stands for Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's just called the BART for short. It isn't yellow and has nothing mentioning The Simpsons, which I think is a wasted opportunity. However, so this incident has happened, and it basically transpires this mugger was on one of the trains. He's been attempting to mug someone on the train. This other man has stepped in to try and sort of break up this commotion. He's the one who got stabbed, and he's the one that has paid with his life. Now, at that time, they have on the news, they have police officers and that sort of thing, and one line I remember hearing was, we can't have police on every train. And you're thinking, okay, I understand that, that's fine. Why is there a need for there to be an officer on every train? And you soon learn why. Because not only do certain travel guides tell you, definitely a big part of the internet tells you, if you're a tourist, in fact even if you live there, don't take the BART, say after 5 o'clock. Because you take your life into your own hands. This is like a serious problem. So it's like, oh, right, okay, that's what we're dealing with. So that was kind of like our first introduction to San Francisco, and it was a big eye opener. It really, really was. I don't know. I had expectations of what I thought San Fran was going to be like. In many ways, and I mean many ways, 99.9% of my trip, San Fran as a city, it surpassed what I thought it was going to be. It is a beautiful city. It is going through a very rough time with the homeless. And politically, it's not doing great. But in the wake of this coronavirus, actually, it has kind of stepped up to the plate, like California as a whole, which is good. Yeah, so yeah, we then went on to our first date, which I will tell you about next time. And I have rambled on now for 45 minutes. I'm quite sure that you now have better things to do, or you're already asleep. I don't know which one it is, but anyway, if you've gotten this far, thank you for listening. And yeah, I do hope that this has proven to be somewhat entertaining. I'm not saying it's perfect. And you know what? I probably will do this again, because I have enjoyed rambling. I normally do. And of course, if you have any comments about it, please comment them below. Feel free to share this video, and please encourage people to subscribe so I can start being paid. Yay! Anyway, again, thank you for listening. I will speak to you all again in the future. I hope that this coronavirus isn't affecting you all too much, and I wish you all well. May the odds be ever in your favour.